Hello and welcome to another episode of Deb's Artsy Life. This is not so much an episode as it is a tutorial. I'm going to show you how I make my cushion. How I make a flat circle, basically. I'm not going to make the entire cushion, I don't think, on camera because it would take too long. But I want to show you the concept. And I know that there is a mathematical way to do this. That is not how I do it. I just do it by feeling my way through it, I guess. I start and I just go out and I increase, but there's no real math or logic behind it. I do it kind of like, I don't know if you guys measure and level things when you hang pictures or if you just eyeball it. I'm one of these people that just eyeball it, and most of the time I've got a pretty good eye and I can get the picture centered, but I don't like measuring and I don't particularly like math. So I'm going to show you how I do this. There are certainly other ways and probably much better ways, but I didn't have a pattern and I didn't have really instructions. I just started crocheting and just kept checking to see if it was going to lay flat. So that's what we're going to do. So the first round, I'm using just regular worsted weight yarn. I think this is Hobby Lobby. I'll also be using Premier Basics. It doesn't matter what yarn you use. And I'm going to assume with this that you already know how to do the basic stitches. Okay, so we're going to start by making a slip knot. And I'm assuming that you know how to make a slip knot. And I know there are different ways to do it. So if you want to know how to make a slip knot, you'll need to maybe search for a video just on that. And then what I do is I chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to work into this first chain from, well, actually it's the third chain from my hook. So I'm going to do a double crochet. I'm going to do 12 double crochets into that chain. And this is just how I like to start working in the round. You can chain 4 and join to make a circle, or you can do the magic circle. But I like to work to make 3 chains and then work into that third from the hook. So I'm doing 12 double crochets. Actually, what I'm doing is that first, where I chained 3, those first 2 chains, the ones that I did not work into, they count as a double crochet. So I'm only working 11 more. And then I'll show you how I join to form a circle. So you see, I'm just working around doing double crochets. And of course, this is US terminology. I think in British terminology that would be, I'm not sure what they call it. Anyway, this is a double crochet in US terms. Alright, I'm going to go back and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I need one more, and that would be 11. Now, if you look right here, right there's those first 2 chains that were part of that 3 chains that I first made. So I'm not going to work into them. They're just going to count. I'm going to go into this V. You see that first V? That's the first stitch I made. And I'm just going to go under both those loops and join with a slip stitch. That will give me another double crochet. And the reason I do that is it just looks better than chaining 3 and going into the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 double crochets. And the way that what I'm going to do is I'm going to change colors. So I've got all my 12 double crochets, and some people chain up 1 to cast off. I'm going to chain up 2 and then pull it through like that and cut. Pull my yarn out and just push that down. And that makes it way more secure than if you just did 1 chain. And I learned that from Kristen Nicholas. I was watching a video on her hexagons, and that's how she makes it more secure. I'm just going to tug that knot or tug that tail and make that closed. Alright, so that's my first round. Now, for the next round, I'm going to come in between, not in the stitch, but in between the double crochets. I'm going to join my yarn. Actually, I'm going to start past that slip stitch. So, it doesn't matter where you start, really. This is just my usual. Well, y'all, I'm struggling. Alright, now, so I've got the yarn between 2 of the stitches, and instead of doing just 1 time to secure it, I'm going to go 2 times. Alright, let's do that again. I'm going to put my yarn between the stitches, so I'm just going to stick my hook in there and pull the yarn through, and then to secure it, I'm going to do this twice and pull, and that makes it more secure than if you only did it once. Now I'm going to do double crochet clusters, so I'm going to chain 2, and like I said, this is just how I do it. Some people chain 3 to equal a double crochet, and I chain 2. Alright, so I'm chaining 2, and then a cluster is you're working 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 double crochets at once. Now this first one is going to be just you work a double crochet because you've already got your chain 2, and then I'm going to chain 1. Okay, and then I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook between those 2 stitches, work half of a double crochet. So I'm only going through 2 loops, and I've got 2 loops left. And then I yarn over again, insert my hook into the same space, pull up a loop, and I've got 4 loops on my hook. And I go through 2, I got 3 loops, I yarn over and go through those 3. Okay, then I chain 1. And we're going to do that all the way around. So I yarn over, insert my hook between the 2 stitches, pull up a loop. I've got 3 loops on my hook. I go through 2, I yarn over, I insert my hook, pull up a loop, go through 2, and then I've got 3 loops on my hook, so I go through all 3 and chain 1. That is a 2 double crochet cluster. Okay, and these are the petals basically, if you were like doing a flower center, kind of like this. And I started out wrong on this, or wrong, not wrong, but different. So it's not going to be exactly like this, but we're going to make this flat, okay? And then I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook, pull up a loop, go through 2, yarn over, insert my hook, pull up a loop, go through 2, whoops, and then go through the last 3. Chain 1. Yarn over, insert my hook, pull up a loop, go through 2, yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, go through 2, go through all 3, chain 1. All right, and I'm just going to keep doing that around. And if you need to see it again with the instructions, you can just speed up. I mean, not speed up. You can rewind and watch it again and again. Okay? But we're just going to get to the end of this. Now there's a video out there. If you want to know how to make a flat granny circle, okay? Just Google that. And there will be a YouTube video with the mathematics and all that of how to make a granny circle, I think. This is just, and you know, it's like I said, everything I've learned from YouTube. So this is not, you know, this is not original, is what I'm trying to say. This is just the way I do it. The way that I would make a cushion. But if you watch the how to make a flat circle, or a flat granny circle, or just how to make a granny circle, how to crochet a granny circle, then that will help you. I would suggest you watch that. And of course, if you don't know how to make double crochets, there are videos and such on that. So anyway, when I get to the end of this round, I'm going to count and make sure I have 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then I'm going to join, not in this chain 2. You see that? 1, 2 chains. But then you've got the double crochet. V. You see that V? I'm going to put my hook under those 2 little rungs of that V, do a slip stitch, then I'm going to chain 1, 2, and pull my yarn through like that, and cut it, and then I'm going to pull it on out, and I've got this left, and I'm going to push it down, and that secures it. Now look at this. I'm going to lay it on the table and make sure it's laying flat, okay? And there you go. All right, so in the next round, I got to figure out what color to use first. Hold on. How about we use this pretty raspberry? It's Premier Basics. Of course, this was in a nice skein, but I balled it up. Okay, so I'm going to take that yarn and join it between 2 of those clusters. And I'm going to go do this twice. I'm hoping you can see that. And then I'm going to tighten. Now in this round, we're going to do a cluster of 3 double crochet with a chain 1 in between. All right, so we're increasing because here we only had 1 double crochet, no chains in between. In this round, we had a cluster of 2 double crochets with a chain in between. Now let me explain to you. When you do a cluster, that only counts as 1 stitch. Do you see the V? There's 2 double crochets, but they're all in 1 stitch, because remember, we only pull through 2 loops and then we pull through 3 at the end. So if you count stitches, you're going to have 24 stitches, because you've got the chain space and a space for the cluster. Chain space, a space for the cluster. And you see the V's. Okay. So what you've done is you've doubled the number of stitches on the second round. Now in this, you're going to triple the number of stitches. So here's 12 stitches, and this is 24 stitches, so that's 12 times 2, so it's doubled. And then on this round, you're going to have okay, I misspoke the first time. We're going to have a cluster of 3 double crochets with chain 2 in between. So you're doing basically 3 stitches, the cluster and 2 chains. So it's 12 times 3 is 36. Okay, so there's some math for you. All right, so I'm going to chain 2. Okay, I'm going to do yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, go through 2, yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, go through 2. And I'm only going to do that because the chain 2 counts as a stitch. So 1, 2, 3. You got 3 little legs, and you got 3 on your hook, so you're going to yarn over, pull through. So the first cluster is a little different. Your chain 2 does count into that. Okay, and then I'm going to chain 1, 2. I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, insert my hook, pull through 2, yarn over, insert my hook, pull through, or draw up a loop and pull through 2, yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, draw through 2, and look, I've got 4 loops on my hook at the end. So I'm going to go through all 4, and I'm going to chain 1, 2, and that right there is a 3 double crochet cluster, but there's only 1 V. See that V? It only counts as 1 stitch, and you got 2 chains in between. Okay, so yarn over, insert your hook between the clusters, pull up a loop, go through 2, yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, go through 2, yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, go through 2, and look, I've got 4 loops on my hook, so I'm going through all 4, 1, 2. Now you can slow down the speed to this video, and you can also you know, rewind it. And I hope that I got all that in the camera. I'm getting carried away and holding it up to my face. So let's do that again. Yarn over, insert your hook between the two clusters from the previous round, draw up a loop, go through 2. Now don't do anything with this yet. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, go through 2, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, go through 2. Then you end up with 4 on your hook. You go through all 4 and chain 1, 2. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, go through 2, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, go through 2, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, go through 2, and then go through all 4. Chain 1, 2. And I'm going to keep doing that until I get to the end of the round. Now, part of this is, of course, you know, I've been doing this for a long time. Not very long. I've only learned to crochet in 2016, but I have made so many of these little, I love to crochet in the round. That's my favorite way to crochet. A lot of people only go back and forth, but that bores me. So I love to make things in the round. I love to make granny squares, cushions, granny circles, mandalas, you know, what have you. So I know kind of how to start this. And as far as the math goes, you know, your first round is going to be, like if your first round's 12, then it's 24, 36, 48, blah, blah, blah. You just keep adding. But as I get on up into the rounds, I don't think about that as much. I lay my circle down, and if it is not flat, then there's a good reason for it. And I'll show you how to tell if you either need to decrease your stitches or if you need to increase your stitches. Okay, and if you've got too many stitches, it's going to be wavy. It's not going to be flat. It's going to have ripples in it. Okay, if you've got too few stitches, it's going to tighten up and become like this. It's going to look concave. It's going to turn in. Now it'll do that, you know, now if you make it, but of course it lays flat. All right, I'm going to finish this round and we'll talk more. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, go through 2, insert your hook, pull up a loop, go through 2, insert your hook, go pull up a loop, go through 2. You got 4 loops on your hook, go through and chain 2. I haven't done this in a long time for some reason, so this is fun to me. I've been knitting so much. I've got the heat on out here. It is so cold today, and my mouth's getting so dry. So I may have to pause and go get a drink of water, but anyway. Now you see how it's kind of cupping? It won't do that, but anyway, there's the 2 chains that we started with. Don't go into them. Go into the first V. I hope you can see that. So I'm going under that V and I'm doing a slip stitch. Now it's cupping a little bit, but you don't have to worry. It'll straighten out in the next round. Chain 2, pull through, cut your yarn. Now you don't have to change colors after each round, but the whole thing, the whole reason I love granny squares so much is because of all the color. Now basically in this round, we know we're going to have 48 stitches. So where we've had 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, we're going to have 4. So we're going to do, we're not going to do the clusters anymore. I'm going to put 4 double crochet in each one of these, and we'll see how that goes. And I'm just experimenting, okay? I have made a whole shawl like this. I've started with a circle and added all around, you know, except for like right here. So it's like a semicircle, and made it lay flat. And I've done it just by experimenting. And you can do that. Don't be afraid. It's just yarn. If it's not right and it's not flat, then you just rip it out and try again. That's exactly how I've always done this. So that is a really pretty flower shape. So what I'm going to do is come in here with a dark. This is Lion Brand Heartland Tweed, and I love all these colors that it has in it. So I'm going to come in here with a round of that to kind of, so that the flower kind of shows off. So I'm joining my yarn, and I'm going to go and wrap this once and then twice. Okay. Now, let's just see what happens. I'm going to chain 2 and just do 3 more double crochet. 1, 2. Now I'm not chaining between these. Okay? I'm just going to go into the next space and do 4 more double crochet. We're just going to see if this works. If it doesn't, we'll rip it out, do it again. So just 4 double crochet, nothing fancy here, no chains. Just, you see I've got 4 double crochet. Now, like I said, we're just practicing. I may have to do chains, but I don't think so. Not practicing, but fumbling our way through this by experiment. But see, you can do any stitches this way, and you don't have to think so much about it. You just experiment. That's how I like to do it. Just experiment, see if it lays flat. If it doesn't, then you got to figure out why and just try again. But there's partly math to it because I know I've got to increase. I know I've got to have more stitches than I had in the previous round. So I'm adding that, I'm adding and doing 4. So you see, it's laying flat. Look at that. So I know I'm on the right track. So I'm just going to keep going. And remember, there's better ways to do this, I'm sure. This is just the way I do it because I'm lazy. Oh, well, I'm not lazy. Well, I am a little. I don't like counting, and I don't like anything tedious. I don't like instructions. I don't like patterns. I don't like following patterns. I don't have anything against the patterns themselves. I just don't like to use one. So I fumble my way through, and it usually comes out okay. So just keep going with 4. Now, I accidentally got my tail under there, so I think that'll be okay. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to keep going. And I'm going to show you at the end of this how to weave in your ends. I don't think weaving in ends is all that bad. A lot of people just hate it, but it's worth it to me because imagine doing that with just one color. I would be bored, so I like doing it. I don't mind weaving in ends because I want all that color, I guess is what I'm saying. And I didn't measure. I mean, your cushion, here it is. And the way I did it was I just made a circle about the size of my cushion to where I just eyeballed it. I mean, I really did. I saw how big the cushion was, and I just kept going until I had it big enough. And that's what I want you to do. So that means you can do any size cushion. It wouldn't matter if it was 60 inches across. You keep going until it's big enough. Okay, we'll move that out of the way so you can see. So that's 3, 4, and I know I crochet funny. A lot of people don't actually yarn over with their hand, and they make fun of people that do, but it's comfortable for me, and there's no right or wrong way to crochet. However you learn to do it, as long as you're making the stitches and you've got the right tension, you're good. All right, there's that 2 chains that I started with. I'm going into the V. So see, not the chains, but under this V, and I'll show you why. See how it just kind of makes another V that lines up with that. It just looks good to me. So chain 1, 2, pull your yarn through, and if I can find my scissors, cut it off, pull it out, and then you want to pull down on that as tight as you can. Now, does that lay flat? Yes. I mean, if you did that, it would, but basically, it will lay flat. That's the main thing. So, what do we want to do in the next round? That's the question. Okay. If you go by the way you've done it and you think about it, you had one stitch here, you doubled it, you tripled it from the beginning, and then you had 4, and in the next round you're going to have 5 stitches on each, in between each. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to join this yarn, wrap it once, wrap it twice, and secure it. And I am going to do I'm thinking. I'm going to do 2 double crochet, well, first I'm going to chain 2, do a double crochet. And truly, y'all, I'm just making this up. Then I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to do 2 double crochets. No chains in between. So in the next, I'm going to go 2 double crochets, 1, 2, chain 1, 2 double crochets. All right, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. And you can feel as you're working, if it's really tight, then it's too few stitches. But if it lays flat as you're working, just lay it on a table. If it lays flat and it's not too tight and it's not wavy, then you're on the right track. That's all you have to do. I literally do this by feel and by trial and error. I mean, that to me is the most fun way to do it. Now, if you're really anal, or if you're really mathematical and logical and you're not artsy and rebellious and like I am, then this might not be the way you want to do it. And that's fine. You don't have to. There are videos that will show you how to do this very mathematically, but that way just does not appeal to me. It's not fun. I just make it up as I go, lay it down, see if it's flat. If it's not, then I work out why and try again. So 2 double crochet, chain 1. And one reason, you know, I'm able to do this a little better now because I've done it so much. And as you practice, you'll become better at figuring out what you need to do. But you can feel if your circle is too tight. You can feel it. You can feel it if it's too loose as you're working. You can just feel that it's going to be wavy and floppy. Now, I accidentally got my end in, and I don't want to do that. So, I'm pulling that out. Okay. 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. So in each space on this round, I'm doing 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. Well, that's 5 stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? You got 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so that's, and look how it's kind of making a little, I don't know, triangle shapes. Just keep going. And you'll be able to feel and see if it's laying flat, okay? It just feels right. So you know you're on the right track. As we go along, it's going to take longer and longer for me to get to the end of the round. So, but just, we'll just talk our way through this. hope y'all are having a good Sunday. I had not been to church in a couple of weeks, and thankfully I was able to go today, and oh, I enjoyed it so much. Just worshiping, the music, seeing everybody, the sermon. It's just all good. Okay, so chain 1 in between and 2. I've got my, sometimes you just have to, you should weave in your ends as you go, but I don't do that. I'll do it at the end. So no chains in between. Chain 2, double crochet 2 on each side with a chain in the middle, in between each cluster. And you know, again, this is not a pattern. This is just me feeling my way through this, okay? You could just do 5 double crochets if you wanted to. You could do whatever. All right, so I'm at the end. And again, let's just go back and look, it's laying flat. Do you see that? Of course, we got our ends under here, so it's not perfectly flat. It's kind of bumpy. 1 double crochet, no chains in between, and then 12 double crochet clusters with 1 chain in between. And then here you got 12 clusters of 3 double crochets with a chain 2 in between. And then 4 double crochet in each space, and then here you've got 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet all the way around. All right, so I'm gonna, you see that 2 chains, gonna join in that V, just like we've done with a slip stitch. Chain up 2, pull through, cut, pull the yarn, working yarn out, and you've left with this, and you just take hold of that chain and push it. And it secures it. And look how flat that lays. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work into these each chain space. So I'm not going to work in the in between. I'm going to work in each chain space. And I got to decide what I'm going to do in that chain space. And I don't know. Let me think about it a minute. Well, right here on this one, I did 3 double crochet, and I did 1 into here. I might could do that. Let's try that. Okay. I'll show you as we go. I'm going to use this color yarn. You just choose your colors based on your preference, like a scrappy. All right, 1, 2. I'm going to chain up 2. I always do that for double crochet. All right, I'm going to do 3 double, no, let's see, I'm going to do 1 double crochet. Well, that was 2, wasn't it? Hang on, I got to think about this. Let's don't do that. Let's see if I can get this undone. It does secure it pretty good, so when you do that double wrap of the yarn, oh gosh, can't hardly get it out. Which is a good thing, unless you're trying. Okay, y'all. Bear with me. This is awful. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut it. Just be careful not to cut your yarn. Alright, now, let's try that again. I'm going to join my yarn in that chain space instead of in between. Alright, I'm going to chain 2 and do 2 more double crochet for a total of 3 double crochets in that chain space. So 3 double crochets, and then I'm going to do a single crochet, 1 single crochet. Okay, I'm going to do 3 double in the chain space of the previous round, and then in between the clusters, see, this is a cluster right here, I'm going to do a single crochet, which is not yarning over, but just insert your hook, pull up a loop, go through 2 loops. That's a single crochet. Now I'm going to lay that down and see if that feels right. I think it does. We'll see. We might have to redo it. Three double crochet in that chain space, and then a single crochet in between. Yeah, I think that's going to work. See how that's looking? So you've got your cluster here, 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. So in that chain space, I'm going to work 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to do a single crochet in between. And I'm going to keep checking to see if it's laying right. Okay, it looks good. 3 double crochet in the chain space, 1 single crochet, 3 double crochet, I hope you guys are doing this along with me, or that you will. Three double crochet, now I'm going to lay it down and just make sure. See how straight that is? It's flat and it's not tight. It's just about right. Okay? And notice I didn't count. I didn't do any math. I just thought about what would work and made it up. Okay? Single crochet, 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3. And then a single. And 3 double. Now you could do a double in that in between the clusters too, but I'll tell you why I did a single. Do you see how doing that short single crochet is kind of pulling those 3 double crochet apart and making it look kind of like a flower? That's why I did that. Okay, so single crochet in between, and then 3 double in the chain space. I keep pulling my yarn out of the skein. Single, 3 double. And again, if you don't know how to work these stitches, these single crochets, double crochets, there are videos. Just search for how to make a single crochet, how to make a double crochet in YouTube. Okay, now, see, I'm at the end of my round. First, I'm going to lay it down and make sure it's not, it's almost too tight, but it's not. Okay, it's laying flat. As long as it lays flat, you're good. But I can feel that it's just a little bit tight, okay? So I'm probably going to have to try to do a little bit more increasing on the next round, because see how it's kind of cupping? Do you see that? I could have probably done 4 double crochets and it might have been better, but we're not going to worry about it. We're going to correct it on the next round. So I'm going into not the 2 chains, but the top of that stitch with a slip stitch, chain 2. Now I want you to look. Do you see how that's cupping? Looks like a bowl. See that? Now it will lay flat, but it's kind of tight. So I've got to think about that. Alright, and I want to tell you this too. A triple crochet or a treble crochet is a longer stitch. So that would kind of make it more of a circle. That would kind of increase it as well if you wanted to kind of hurry things along a little bit. So I just got to think about this. I'm going to use this color. I do know that. I'm going to join my yarn in the single crochet. Okay, you got your 3 doubles and then you got your little short single. I'm going into the top of that stitch and join my yarn. You don't really have any in between spaces in this round. Now I've got to make this bigger, so I think I'm going to put a treble crochet in here. I'm going to chain 3. Well, actually I'm going to chain 4. And a treble crochet is you wrap your yarn around the hook twice, insert your hook, pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2, go through 2, and you've just made a treble. Okay? Now I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to do another treble in the middle of this. Okay. There are videos on how to do a treble crochet. I'm going to chain 1. So far I've done 2 trebles, chain 1, 1 treble, chain 1, and I'm back to this single crochet. So I'm going to do another treble. And I did 2, so I'm going to do another one. Yarn over twice. Insert your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, go through 2 loops, go through 2 loops, and go through 2 loops. And you see why it's called a treble or a triple crochet. I think it's treble. Now I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to do another one in the middle of these 3 stitches, so it would be in that second stitch. Go through 2, 2, and 2. Chain 1. So I'm doing a chain 1. I'm doing 2 trebles, chain 1, 1 treble, chain 1, 2 trebles, chain 1, 1 treble, chain 1. So in between I'm doing a chain, all except for these 2 trebles that are in the same stitch. Okay? Lay it flat, see how it looks. I think we're going to be good here. So I'm doing another treble into the single crochet, and we'll do 2 in this stitch, right? We've got our chain here, so I'm doing another treble into this stitch. So I'm putting 2 treble crochets into that one stitch, so I'm increasing then, right, because I'm putting 2 in one stitch. Okay, lay that out. It's pretty good. And I wouldn't have had to do a treble. I could have done whatever I wanted as long as it laid flat. All right, chain 1 and then do 2 trebles in that same. Now I didn't do that right. A treble, right? So you wrap twice, go into the stitch, pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2, go through 2. And that's your treble. And then we got to do another one. So wrap yarn around hook twice, insert your hook, pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2, and go through 2. Chain 1. Do it again into that. See how it's the highest point? See how that is the third stitch of that 3 double crochet from the previous round, and chain 1. Now we're back to our 2 trebles, and I keep wanting to do a double. You have to yarn over twice, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Let's do another. Yarn over twice, insert your hook, pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2, and go through 2, and chain 1. Yarn over twice, go into, you're skipping 1 stitch and going into that second stitch of those 3, because that's the middle, right? 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Now we're back to that single crochet, so we're going to put 2 trebles. 1, 2, chain 1. Okay, now let's lay it down. I had to work a little bit, but it does lay flat, so I think we're okay. We'll see when we get to the end. I may have to do it over. If I mess this up too bad, I'm going to be embarrassed. Chain 1, do 2 trebles. But you see, I'm just making this up. I'm not... There's no rhyme or reason to my madness. All I'm trying to do is make it lay flat. So the 2 in the single crochet, the 2 trebles, they don't have a chain between. It's just 2 treble, chain 1, 1 treble, chain 1, 2 treble, chain 1, and then we'll do the 1 treble in that second stitch, that tallest stitch, chain 1. And we're back to this. Now when I first started doing this, I was ripping out a lot of rows. And that's why I said, you know, now do you see how I've got that slip knot? You've got a V, and then you've got the kind of the knot, and then you've got another V. So I'm going into that middle. I hope you could see that. Alright, and chain 1, and now I'm back to the single, and I'm going to do 2 treble. I forgot to say that I'm using an eye hook. I'm using an eye hook 5.5 millimeter because that's what the yarn calls for. Okay, that's why I'm using it. Here we are to do our 1 treble. Chain 1, 2 treble, 1, I hope this makes sense to y'all. I don't know. It's just how I do it. And again, I'm just kind of eyeballing it and thinking about what I want, the kind of stitch I want to do, and you know, how it will look and if it will lay flat. And I'm just feeling it out as I go. And that's probably not the best way to do it, but it's my way. And I mean, it's the way that makes me... Okay, I'm back at the I'm just going to end that sentence where it was. I'm back at the beginning. Let's lay it down first. We may have to undo this one. See how it's stretched right there? Now you got to remember that these stitches are longer, so I still think we can work it out in the next round. You don't want to, but see, it kind of does lay flat, so we're going to go with it. It's not too tight. You do have to fiddle a little. All right, so I'm going to join. Here's the chain 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to actually join in the top of that chain 4. Like, now I've got a problem. You see that? It's still cupping. But I'm still going to keep going. I'm determined not to have to do this over. So, let's just keep going and see if we can correct it. Right now, it's making a cut, and we don't want that. So, in the next round, I'm really going to have to get serious about making this thing bigger. You know what I'm going to do? This right here is bulky yarn. It's a number 5 bulky. It's Serenity Chunky Candy. And that's going to help me. I mean, I have, I'll show you. I have crocheted a granny square with this. And it kind of works in pretty well without, you see, this round. And you can't really tell that they're two different weights of yarn. Okay, because I'm using the eye hook still. But what I'm going to do is, I've got a cup, I've got a bowl right now, and I don't want a bowl. So, I'm going to join in between, just like I've been doing. Alright. And I'm going to work, there's no rhyme or reason to this. I'm going to chain up 2, and I'm going to work 3 double crochet. 1, 3, everywhere I can. So, I think in this, I'm just going to put 2, maybe. 1, I'm not chaining in between. 1, 2. Now I'm making this up. I'm going to do 3 here. My yarn split. I'm just doing double crochets. I'm going to do 3 here, no chains. Everywhere I come to a space, I'm going to work either 2 or 3. So in each chain space, I'm doing 3. But right here, in this 2 triple crochet stitch that we did, I'm just going to work 2. 1, because the space is not as big, okay? It's not actually a stitch, it's the space between 2 stitches. So I think this is going to work. So I'm going to do 3 here. So in each chain space, you do 3. One, 2, 3. Now I've come to this 2 double crochet. I'm only going to do 2 double crochet. 1, I'm sorry, I came to the 2 triple crochets from the previous round, not a chain space. So in between those 2 triple crochets, I'm only doing 2 double crochets. Then I've come to the chain space. I'm going to do 3 double crochets. Another chain space, 3 double crochet. 1, 2, And this may have worked with worsted weight yarn as well, but I think it's going to work better with bulky. Besides, I like the colors. I've come to this 2 triple crochet. Only going to do 2. With this chain space, I'm going to do 3. 1, 2, 3. Another chain space, I'm going to do 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3. Now I've come to these 2 triple crochets with no chain in between, so I'm going in between them. I'm only going to do 2 double crochets. Here I'm going to do 3 into this chain space. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet. Now let's lay this down and check it. Do you see how flat that's laying? We still got a curve here, but I think we're on the track to making it lay flat. You see that? All right, let's just keep going. 3 double crochet in the chain space. 1, 2, 3. Then we've got the 2 triple crochets. In between them, I'm going to do 2 double crochets. 1, 2. Chain space, I'm going to do 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3. Another chain space. 1, 2, 3. Back to the 2 triples. I'm going to do 2 double crochet. Then we are at a chain space. I'm going to do 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3. Another chain space. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet. Another chain space. 1. You know what I just realized? I skipped a stitch there. Do you see that? I'm in that single crochet, and instead of doing 2 triples on this one, I only did 1, and that could be why it was cupping so much. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back and try to fix that by fudging it, as Jennifer on Cinnamon Stitches says. I'm going to add, I had done 3 double crochet. I'm going to do 4. 1, so there's 3. I don't know if you can see it. And I'm going to do a 4th one because I had missed a stitch below. And I'm going to do 4 on this side. 1. So I've corrected, hopefully, that bottom, that round before. I skipped a stitch, okay? Then in here, I'm going to do 3 double crochet, just like we've been doing. This is seriously how I work, y'all. I mean, when you're making it up yourself, it doesn't have to be perfect. Who's going to know? All right. In here, I'm going to do 2 double crochet, just like we have been, because I've already made my correction, hopefully. And yeah, if you got down and looked at that, you'd see my mistake, because the pattern's not, I mean, like the pattern of the stitches in that round is not perfect, but I wouldn't worry about it. Okay, and 3 double crochets, because I'm doing 3 double crochets in each chain space, and 2 in between those 2 triple crochets. 1, 2, 3, and then we come to this 2, and we're just going to do 2 double crochets. Get my tail out of the way there. 1, 2, and then here's the chain space, 3 double crochet. 1, 2. I've been known to do everything the hard way, so this may be the hard way. But for me, it's the fun way. Trial and error, winging it. It's pretty much how I live my life, you know. Just winging it. On a wing and a prayer. Alright, there's my 2 triples. I'm going to do 2 double crochets in that space. Then I'm going back to 3 in the chain space. 1, 2. Not sure that's the best way to live your life either, but. And then 3 here. 1, 2, 3, and then we're at this 2 triple crochet, so we're going to do 2 in here. 1, 2. The point is to make it lay flat, so if it lays flat, then we've done our job. That's a chain space, so I'm going to do 3. And I'm going to join. Before I join, I'm going to lay it down. And I want you to look how flat that lays. Huh! It worked. It worked, you guys. So you know what? It doesn't matter that I missed that stitch. You see I missed it right here. I don't know if you can see that, but you've got 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and right here you got 1. And that's where they're kind of curving in and looking tight, is where I missed that stitch. But I corrected it in this round by adding an extra stitch right there. I put 4 double crochets on each side of that to try to correct it. And it worked, okay? It worked. It doesn't always work, but this time it did. So, I'm going to join into the top of this stitch, because it's a double crochet, and chain 2. That's all there is to it, you guys, and you just keep going like that until you have a big enough circle to cover your pillow. You could do whatever you wanted to here. You could do 2 half doubles in each stitch. You could do cluster stitches. You could do baubles. You can do chains. You can do whatever. All that matters is that it lays flat when you get done. Okay? And if it doesn't lay flat, then you know you've got to add more stitches. And if it's, or take away stitches, you know, whatever. But you just do it by trial and error. But see how beautiful that is? And I want you to notice that yarn does not, there's no, it's not a great match. But I think it looks good. I should have used red here. I'll probably use red on the next round. But I'm not going to keep going because this video is going to be, it's already an hour long. Good grief. So you just keep going. You make up the stitches as you go and you make it lay flat. I'm going to show you real quick how I weave in my ends. I'm only going to do 1. I'm going to weave in this just to show you how I do it. And I've got to go get a yarn needle. So give me just 1 second. Sorry for that delay. Okay, but here's how I weave in my ends. Actually, I'm going to do this one. No, you can't see that as well. Let's do this one. All right. One thing you want to make sure of is that you're weaving in to the same color, or somehow you're hiding your weaving so that it, you know, this is the back side and it's going to be on your pillow, so it really won't matter. In fact, you almost wouldn't have to sew in your ends, but I think if you didn't, then your ends would come through these holes. So let's go ahead. I'm going to wet my finger and twist this and thread my needle, and then I'm just going to take my needle and enter here and try to go into the yarn. Like, I'm going to try to split the threads, okay, and go on through, come out, and then I'm going to do it again, going back the other way. I'm going to try to split those threads because that helps your fibers weave in together and kind of congeal. So I'm going to do this 3 times, going one way and then the other way and then the other way, back and forth. I'm going to go in, try to go in. Actually, I'm going to do this 4 times just to make sure. And I'm just going, you don't have to have a lot of space, you just have to go back and forth. And then I'm going to cut. Alright, I'm going to do that to each of these ends. But as you can see, I ended up with a circle. So I hope this helps you to make a circle. And really, it's so much fun. I love to make mandalas. And I know there are patterns you can follow if you like that kind of thing, or you can just make it up as you go. Is this perfect? Absolutely not. You can see how this is kind of skewing. But you know what? In the whole scheme of things, when I'm finished with this, it'll be fine. Alright, I hope you guys have a good day, and I hope that you'll watch some more of my tutorials. We'll see you soon.